Welcome to the Doghouse, live from the Doghouse. We're going to do a little round three recap. It is Scottie Scheffler's world. Man, those 2 minutes that he talks about where he finally feels happy after winning a golf tournament, those 2 minutes must hit like absolute crack because he is, we got the double voice on. We have fixed that immediately. All right, a little bit of a hiccup. It's been a long 24 hours. I was in the hospital with my dog last night. He managed to eat a corn on the cob, a little piece of the corn on the cob. So we had to take him to the hospital, get a chest x-ray. Turns out he didn't actually eat the cob, just a little bit of the corn, so we're okay. We're out of the woods there. Scottie Scheffler, this guy is absolutely unbelievable. Watching him today, it reminded me of Nadal on clay. It reminded me of Patrick Mahomes with 3 minutes to go and 2 timeouts. It was completely and totally inevitable. A perfect round of golf. I believe it was bogey-free 67 from Scottie Scheffler. He is at 14 under par with a 4-shot lead. It was indeed bogey-free. He played essentially a perfect round of golf. That is how you play with the lead in a major championship. And if I'm Haotong Li, who's playing with him in the final group tomorrow, if I'm Matt Fitzpatrick, who's 5 shots back, who just watched himself lose all that ground over that back 9, if I'm Rory McIlroy, that is not the guy that I want to be behind. And I remember when I got to Portrush earlier this week, and I want everyone to smash a like for Scottie Scheffler for how good of a performance that was, and how much we're enjoying watching him right now, because we want Scottie to know that, hey, even if you're kind of pondering the meaning of life, we love watching you play golf the way that you're playing golf right now. And I want everyone to get their comments in. I'm going to answer all your questions, all those stuff. We're up for a live. I'm feeling great. I'm finally over the jet lag. So when I got to Portrush, I was talking to a lot of the locals, some golf sickos who came up. They wanted to hear about my trip to Ireland, and they wanted to talk about how excited they were to watch Scottie Scheffler play golf in person. Scottie did not play in the 2019 Open at Royal Portrush, so for all of these big golf fans who live in Northern Ireland, they haven't gotten to see Scottie with their own 2 eyes, because for as incredible as Scottie Scheffler has been, and he's been absolutely incredible. I mean, look at this leaderboard. I'm bringing it up here. We can see how everything finished up. He doesn't play outside the United States. He just doesn't really like to do it. He's a homebody. Remember, this guy decided to play in the Byron Nelson over the Truist Championship because it was at home, and he wants to be home with Bennett. And we learned, even more than ever this week how much this guy likes being home and how important his family and stuff is. So he doesn't play around the world a lot. So they haven't seen him. And they've watched him on TV, and they've seen how he likes to curve it and how he likes to hit shots up and he likes to hit shots down, and he always plays toward the fat part of the green. But they hadn't seen it in person, and they were really looking forward to it. And there were 2 shots that he hit for me that were really indicative of that today, of just how it was the par 3 on the front. I can't remember. There was a back right pin, and he hit this low cut after Fitz played a really nice shot in there. He played this low cut to this back right pin. And then this one for me, this was the real money one for me on 16. The 3-iron that he hit into 16, I think there were only 6 birdies on that the whole day. He hit this low cut to like 15 feet, rolled in the putt, absolutely no issue. And it feels like Scottie Scheffler is going to get his 4th major championship tomorrow. And I think we need to sort of pause and talk about what a win for Scottie Scheffler tomorrow would mean for golf. So it would be 4 majors he would have. He'd be 3/4 of the way to the career Grand Slam. He'd have completed 3 legs of the career Grand Slam since March of 2024. If he wins tomorrow, Scottie would have won 12 times around the world, including 3 out of the 4 major championships and an Olympic gold medal. The only thing he hadn't won, and the Players, the only thing he wouldn't have won since March 2024 is the United States Open, which would be the only major championship that he hasn't won. And we always talk about, it's not fair to compare someone to Tiger. It's not fair to compare someone to Tiger. And you sort of make all these comparisons with the asterisks of like non-Tiger division. A win tomorrow, and Scottie's getting those comparisons, and people are going to say it with their chest. Because if you win 12 events in what has it been since March to April, April to May to June, June to July. And if you win 12 events in 16 months, including 3 majors, a gold medal, and the Players Championship, like, you're winning everything there is to win in golf. And I sent a text message to Billy Foster. So Billy Foster is one of the all-time great caddies. He's worked for so many of the best players in the world, including Seve Ballesteros, Lee Westwood. He was on Lee Westwood's bag when he got to number 1 in the world. Thomas Bjorn, Darren Clark. He finally won his major with Matt Fitzpatrick at the 2022 U.S. Open at Brookline. We saw him, kind of break down in tears after that, how much it meant to him. And he was working this week and last week for Colin Morikawa. Colin is obviously in the middle of the caddy carousel, and he had Billy work for him in the Scottish Open and the Open Championship. Missed the cut in both. But I sent Billy a text. I said, you've seen all of the greats up close. Billy actually caddied for Tiger in the 2004 President's Cup in Virginia because Steve Williams had something prior arrangement. And so Billy, so all this to say, Billy has seen everyone up close. And I asked him, what was your take of Scotty those two first days? And he said, different class and simply brilliant. He said, that's what I told him on the 18th green. Different class and simply brilliant. And I was texting a little bit more with Billy. And he said, his distance control is the best that I have ever seen. And I think we saw that today. It was a master at work. And it was one of the reasons why I was so excited to watch Scotty is because it does feel like his game would lend itself really well to links golf. He's in total control of his launch conditions. And when I say that, I mean, it's not an accident that his distance control is the best that Billy Foster's ever seen because he has the same strike every time. It never comes off hot. It never seems to come off dead. He's always on his number, which Tiger always talked about. Winning golf is distance control. And you've seen it yourself. You're playing golf and you hit a shot and maybe it's a little bit right of the flag, but if you get there and it's the right distance, it's always closer than it looks. And that's what we saw all day from Scotty. I'm watching the highlights right now on NBC and his putting too. I mean, Phil Kenyon, whoever let this guy link up with Phil Kenyon, what were you thinking? What were we thinking? Who gave Phil Kenyon Scottie Scheffler's number? Because at this point, if the putter is hot, you are playing for second, and the putter has been really solid this year. I think he's in the top 30, I want to say, in strokes gained putting. So there's not a weakness. He looks completely in control, and it would be a genuine shock if he doesn't win the tournament tomorrow. And, I was looking at, he won his first major by 3 at the Masters in 2022. It really was more like 5. Remember, he like couldn't make a putt on the last hole. I want to say he 4-putted or 5-putted the last hole. He won his first major by 3. He won his second major by 4. He won his third major earlier this year at Quail Hollow by 5. Would it surprise you at all if he wins by 6 or 7 tomorrow? I mean, if he plays another round like he played today, the guy is just driving it on a string. He's got this low ball, this cut that just gets on the ground and starts running. And I know that I feel like I'm just showering praise on Scottie Scheffler, but I was gasping. I said it to Alex Bush. I sent him a message after that birdie on 16. I went, oh, he's just so damn good. And hearing Billy be as effusive in his praise as he was. And if you've ever met someone from Yorkshire, where Billy's from, if you ever met like a Leeds guy, they don't give out compliments for the hell of it. Like he was thoroughly impressed with what he saw. So it is Scottie Scheffler's world. We are all just living in it. And again, I hope if he does win tomorrow, which it feels like he's gonna, I hope that bliss lasts longer than 2 minutes, because I'm definitely getting more than 2 minutes of satisfaction of watching one of the greatest players we've ever seen. This is, I'm ready to say that. Like, he is one of this run from Scottie Scheffler, and it's not even just a run anymore. That's what I keep talking about. Like, Jason Day had those 18 months. Jordan Spieth, we're on 3+ years of sustained greatness from Scottie Scheffler. And he's going to win tomorrow, and he's going to be number 1 in the world by a wider margin than he's ever been before. And let's remember, Rory McIlroy won the first 2 massive events of this year, right? He won the Players and he won the Masters. And he actually won the Association of Golf Writers, which I am no longer a member of. That's another story for another time, which I will tell you is a little bit of a personal disagreement with one of the leadership there, but that's neither here nor there. So Rory actually won the Association of Golf Writers Player of the Year, which I don't know how they give that award out before the last major of the year, but he had won the Masters and the Players the first 2 of the year. So what has Scotty done since then? Right? And then we had, Phil Mickelson saying, is Scotty going to win before Bethpage? I say, nah, Joaquin Niemann is the best player in the world. Joaquin Niemann missed the cut again this week. Another sort of lost year in the majors for Joaquin Niemann. But Scotty's responded by winning and winning and winning. And it looks like it's going to be 2 majors and the Memorial since all of that happened toward the back half of this year. And now we've got a debate on who the player of the year is. It's honestly a little bit sort of reminiscent to last year when you got a guy who wins the Open to win his second major of the year, just like Xander did last year. And by the way, they keep talking about this Xander Schauffele cut streak, and it's pissing me off that they're talking about it, because Xander Schauffele played in the Travelers Championship, which had no cut like a couple weeks ago, and I want to say he finished like way down there, and I feel like he would have missed the cut if there was a cut. So let's see where was the Travelers? Yeah. Oh no. Okay, anyways, I feel like Xander, I'm looking this up right now. Sorry, this is probably not the best television, but they tell me about, I feel like I'm being gaslit with this cut streak. Yeah, so he finished T61 at the Travelers. Schauffele did. In a field of 67 guys. So, let's not pretend like this is a comparable streak to to Tiger Woods in his 140th. But anyways, it's reminiscent to where a guy, you have one guy who's sort of all the talk is about him early in the year, and then you've got another guy who, wins these two majors toward the end of the year and totally shifts the narrative. I'm going to look at some of your comments here. He deserves waterfalls, not just showers. Straight torrential flooding type of game. That is right. Major mini golf. Joseph Boza says, Chris Gotterup impressed me. He didn't prove last week. He proved last week wasn't a fluke. Chris finished -8 today. Yeah, let's talk about that really quick, and then we're going to talk a lot about Rory. But I do want to talk about Chris Gotterup because I'm starting to wonder if, some of the guys that we talked about being absolute locks to be on the Ryder Cup, and there are two that jump to mind. One of them is Colin Morikawa, and one of them is Patrick Cantlay. I still think Colin is a lock. I think Colin has earned it with his two major wins. I think Colin's had 2 seconds this year and is going through a little bit of a rough patch. But I think of Colin in sort of a different category than I think of Cantlay. I am officially demoting Cantlay away from being a lock on the Ryder Cup team. He finished tied for 36 in the Masters, which is right in the middle of the pack. Making the cut in the Masters is not really an accomplishment when you got all the amateurs, all the past champions. Missed the cut in the next 3 majors. And I know he's been solid. He's been an ATM once again in the non-majors and the signature events, but you can't keep laying eggs in big tournaments and expect us just to not care. And Chris Gotterup, if we look at his results recently, Chris Gotterup has the win at the Genesis Scottish Open. He's been trending so far this summer, and Chris Gotterup has a little bit of a swagger about him. He turns 26 tomorrow. He plays a big boy brand of golf. His driver is his biggest weapon, and he's from New Jersey. He's a bridge and tunnel, as they say in New York, but I think that the New York fans would adopt him as one of their own, and I feel like he would bring a little bit of energy to that team, and he's got everything to play for now, does Chris Gotterup, in the FedEx Cup playoffs. There's still 3 big events that come back, and we're a little bit of a prisoner of the moment always with Ryder Cup stuff, but this is the last major of the year. But Gotterup is sort of making a surge as Cantlay and as Morikawa, but again, I put them in sort of different categories, but he's making a run at the right time, and Cantlay has really, really not had a very good year. So let's move on a little bit. Let's keep talking. I'm making burgers. This is great. I can keep talking for as long as you guys want. You guys know that I love to yap. We're going to talk about everything. Rory McIlroy. Rory's got the light back in his eyes this week. Rory's got the light back in his eyes this week, and it's been really nice to see. We saw it from Monday when he did his press conference. Just a totally different energy. He talked about the change of scenery and getting back over here and maybe taking some time to digest the post-Masters lull, that swoon. We're putting that behind us because he, in 2019, was heartbroken to let these fans down, and he got another chance to return to Royal Portrush in 2025, which I think was probably earlier than most people anticipated. And he got to come back a second time in his prime. And not only come back a second time in his prime, but to come back with the green jacket. And I saw this magical scene play out on Tuesday night. I was going back to Portrush for an interview, and I saw Rory walking by. He was walking to that Association of Golf Writers dinner, and he had his green jacket on, and this group of members watching on a patio. They saw him and they started chanting, "We love Rory." And he wanted to sign autographs and he wanted to say hello, but he had to go. And it was sort of a microcosm, I thought, into the Rory McIlroy experience. He doesn't get to come to this place very often of home, not because he doesn't want to, but because he has places to be. He had to go to that Golf Writers dinner. He has to go to the Travelers Championship. He has to go to the Players Championship. And he comes home and he wants to give all these people everything that he can, but he can't give it to everyone. But he did show up with a different attitude this week, and he said he wanted to embrace it. He said in 2019, he kind of tried to insulate himself, and he was talking about in his interview with NBC afterwards, if he didn't win the Masters already this year, it would have been a different experience. He would have come in with so much more pressure, I think. He would have come in with so much more weight. But what he was saying was, this is actually a celebration of what I've been able to accomplish. And Rory's tied for 4th. He's at 8 under. He's 6-pack of Scotty going into tomorrow. He described himself as having a half chance. I would call it more like 1/10 of a chance, given the way that Scotty is playing. But he was able to deliver the show that he wasn't able to deliver in 2019, and it was really, really nice to see. And I'm ready to officially put the post-Masters period behind us. Rory just dazzled the crowd. He was 3 under through 4, just an amazing start before Scotty got up there and sort of started plotting his way around. And then the crazy situation on 11. I mean, what the heck is going on here? Had anyone ever seen that before? A ball that just pops out of absolute nowhere. I'm sure he was probably a second was like, oh my God, did I just hit the wrong ball? And then he eagles the next hole, eagles the 12th, hits the pin on the 15th, and the crowds were absolutely massive. I mean, I was talking about earlier this week, when I think of pure fan support, I want everyone to get their comments in, ask questions. I want to hear what you guys thought. Smash a like for Scottie Scheffler. Smash a like for Dan on Golf. We absolutely love you guys. It's been an amazing year, and I'm really sad that tomorrow's our last major championship of the season. So smash a like for us. But, he gave them what they wanted. you know, and it was so nice to see. And here was Rory talking about his experience on the golf course just after his round today.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, it was so much fun. You know, I got off to the perfect start. You know, 3 under, 3 4. Felt like, you know, that the end of the front 9 there, or at least through 11, you know, the par on 7 felt like a bogey, and then the bogey on 11. But then to play those last 7 holes and 3 under, I thought was a good effort. And yeah, no, like I played well. I rode my luck at times, but yeah, it was an incredible atmosphere out there, and feel like I've at least given myself half a chance tomorrow.
And I'm a little bit upset that I'm not there. I think it would have been a very cool experience to be walking with Rory, but I had to come home. I was in Ireland for 12 days, and I had to come home at some point. But I could feel it even early in the week. Tiger's still on a different level of support, I think. Like, anytime Tiger teed it up, when Tiger was making a run, it was just a different energy. But this Rory at Portrush is a strong number 2 for me as far as fans rooting on a specific player more than I've ever seen. Number 3 would probably be Scotty, the day of his arrest in Kentucky. That was in Louisville. That was a wild and surreal scene. It felt like the entire grounds were lifting him up. And then Bryson at Pinehurst would be number 4. I just couldn't believe how much they were on his side there. But I think Rory, instead of in 2019 kind of dealing with this as a weight, viewing this week as a celebration with all of these people who have seen him growing up, to come back with the green jacket and to put on the show that he put on Saturday was just a really, really cool scene. We got some pictures here of just how big the crowds were. It was special. It was special. And he said that, that putt on 12, making that putt on 12 was one of the most special experiences that he's ever had on a golf course. That roar, and just to be able to deliver, I think, so it seems like Rory's in a much better place, a much better place than he was a couple months ago, which is really lovely to see. Someone who's not necessarily in a better place than they were a couple months ago is Shane Lowry. So Shane Lowry obviously won the Open when it was here in 2019. He made the cut at even par yesterday after a 2-shot penalty for causing a ball to move. And I've said that, the two things can be true at once, and I know that's not a popular take in the age of the internet, but I think the video evidence was pretty clear that Shane Lowry caused that golf ball to move with his practice swing. It was obviously unintentional. They had a shot of him taking the practice swing, and it wasn't even he wasn't even looking at the ball, so it's definitely not visible to the naked eye. But because the broadcast, he's in a feature group, there's cameras everywhere, the broadcast was showing his ball. All the viewers saw his ball move, and then the broadcast cannot ignore what they've just shown. So then they show a replay, and then they've got a rules official who signed on for the broadcast, and they can't not bring him in. And then there's a situation on everyone's hands. And so, yes, he caused the ball to move, and once the cameras pick that up, it's a penalty. But also, how many times do we think that exact situation happened this week and no penalty because there weren't cameras there? And, John Rahm played with Shane Lowry today, and they asked him, his thoughts on the situation, and here's what he had to say.
Are you in a no-win situation there?
So, no, you're in a no-win situation. Because if you say, I didn't see it, therefore I don't think it should be a penalty, even though the rule says it should be visible to the naked eye, you always run the risk of being called something you don't want to be called. And if you take it on the safe side, you're taking a 2-shot penalty. Somebody that, if he starts at 2 under today, you have a good Saturday, you can't put yourself in contention, right? When you get 10 shots back, it's a little bit harder. So it's a tough spot to be in. From what I understand from the whole thing, and I haven't seen the images, okay, this is just from what I heard, it needs to be visible without a camera, right? So if the rule says visible to the naked eye, we need to uphold that.
So he says something's got to change. I've got an idea. What about a 1-shot penalty? Why is that a 2-shot penalty? Shane Lowry took a swing and the ball moved. That's a stroke. 1 stroke. I feel like a 2-shot penalty implies some sort of intent or some sort of, funny business, whereas you swung at a ball and the ball moved. That should be 1 shot added to your score. Feels like a pretty self-evident solution to this sort of situation. We've got a couple comments here in the chat. One asking about the Ryder Cup team, and one asking about Lee Westwood's 40-29, which was quite a way to shoot 69 this afternoon for a guy who qualified into the field, played his way in north of 50. How old is Lee Westwood? 50 something? Yeah. So amazing effort. We'll talk about both those things. Ryder Cup. So we'll start with the Europeans. You know, I was tweeting earlier this week that I think, you know, a lot of the European team is pretty much set. When you look at their top sort of nine or 10 players, I'm going to read the guys who I think are definitely a lock to be on the team. So obviously Rory McIlroy is already locked up. Mathematically on points, John Rahm will definitely be there. Tyrrell Hatton, who's become just a consistent force in the majors and unbelievable entertainment. And they're learning, the broadcast is learning to just show him after every single shot and just don't say anything else. And then it's almost like a reaction clip. It's almost like us doing the watch along where they turn into fans. They're just like, what is he going to say next? Victor Hovland's going to be on the team. Robert McIntyre, Ludwig Oberg, Sepp Straka, Tommy Fleetwood, and Shane Lowry. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think you can add Matt Fitzpatrick to that list. I think, you know, we spend so much time analyzing who's going to be on the Ryder Cup all year, and Fitzpatrick was terrible really all year, and something has clicked in the last month or so, and it's hard to ignore the timing for when he started working with Mark Blackburn. And we had Mark Blackburn on this show, and, you know, Mark, if you're going to be one of the best coaches in the world, and Mark Blackburn is the #1 coach in America according to Golf Digest, you're going to get hired a lot and you're going to get fired a lot. And Mark Blackburn has been fired quite a bit recently. Colin Morikawa fired him a couple years ago. Max Homa fired him very recently. Russell Henley, who he worked with and they had a win together right away at Bay Hill, fired him after missing the cut in the first 2 majors of the year. And he said, you can't take it personally. You have to believe in yourself and your information. And he gets a call from Matt Fitzpatrick. So after getting fired from all those guys, Matt Fitzpatrick with a really unfortunate situation. So his coach forever since he was, I want to say 14 years old, is Mike Walker. And Mike is a lovely guy, was Matt's coach throughout his entire career through winning the 2022 US Open at Brookline. And Mike's wife is sick. And so Mike is being a full-time caregiver in England, and that forced Matt to start working with someone else, especially while he was struggling. And Mark Blackburn's got him hitting his irons so much better. The irons have been the problem for Fitzy really since 2022. He's consistently struggled with them, and he's playing much, much better now. And he's got Ryder Cup experience, and I know the experience has not been the best experience. I want to say he's 1-7 or something in his Ryder Cup career. It has not been very good for Matt Fitzpatrick in the Ryder Cup, but he's a major champion, and he's far more proven than you know, one of these sort of outside of the box picks that plays, you know, mainly on the DP World Tour. It feels like Fitzpatrick is pushing at the right time to make it on the Ryder Cup. So I would say that now there's 10 places on the European Ryder Cup team that are locked in. Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, Tyrrell Hatton, Victor Hovland, Robert McIntyre, Ludwig Oberg, Sepp Straka, Tommy Fleetwood, Shane Lowry, and Matt Fitzpatrick. And as far as 1 through 10, that is an extremely, extremely strong group. Now, on the American side, we talked about Patrick Cantlay being demoted, you know, from an absolute lock. So let's look at the points list right now for the U.S. I think there's 2 guys who are really, you know, sort of putting an exclamation point on their candidacy. Russell Henley played an incredible round of golf today. He shot 6 under. He's in a tie for 9th. Henley's way up there in the points. He is 4th in the points right now. He's going to get some big points this week because the guys who are 5th and 6th, Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, and then 7th and 8th, Colin Morikawa and Ben Griffin. Bryson's out of it. Justin Thomas is out of it. Colin Morikawa missed the cut, and Ben Griffin also missed the cut. So I think Russell Henley is a lock, and I feel like Harris English is really playing himself into borderline lock, you know, potential. Had I think a 12th place in the Masters. He had a 2nd in the PGA Championship. He is in a tie for 4th going into tomorrow. And I don't know if you guys agree, smash a like if you agree with this pick, that Harris English's golf swing doesn't get talked about enough. I mean, we talk about Rory McIlroy's golf swing. We talk about Jake Knapp's golf swing. We talk about Louis Oosthuizen's golf swing and Adam Scott's golf swing. How about Harris English's golf swing? I mean, it is absolutely beautiful to watch. He rotates so nicely through the ball, just a professional flusher, hitting a lot of flat cuts. So I think Harris English is going to be on the team. So I think for the U.S., as far as locks go, and we're going to talk about this, I'm sure, on Monday, and there's still 1 round to go. Scottie Scheffler is a lock. Xander Schauffele is a lock. JJ Spawn is a lock. I think Russell Henley is now a lock. I think Bryson is a lock. Not having a great week this week. He did shoot, I think, 300 today. So I guess he's 9 under after his first round. So yeah, it's been a strong comeback. I think he's a lock. I think JT's going to make the team. I think Colin's going to make the team. I think Harris English is going to make the team. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then it feels like something's changed with Keegan recently, doesn't it? I don't know if you guys saw I don't know if you guys saw, they asked him, have you signed the captain's agreement? And he was kind of taken aback by the question, like, what do you mean? And then he revealed that they're still working on the captain's agreement. It feels like they're working on something that involves, him playing. And it feels like since the Travelers, it's almost like he convinced to himself that, like, I got to do this. And he also revealed that the PGA of America apparently told him that they wanted him to be the first playing captain since Arnold Palmer when they gave him the captaincy. And that's flies in the face of what I thought. I thought they wanted him to be the captain, and this is such a huge Ryder Cup. And they, when they gave him the captaincy, he wasn't playing anywhere near as good as he's playing right now. And so I thought that a playing captain was kind of the last thing that they wanted, but maybe they do want it. And it seems like he's sort of convincing himself that he deserves this, and that it's no longer just sort of like it'd be a fun idea. There's a big round for him tomorrow. He's in a tie for 22nd, but it does feel like something has flipped with Keegan Bradley. So the guys who are sort of limping toward the finish line is Patrick Cantlay, he's in the 14th in the points. Ben Griffin has run out of steam a little bit. Brian Harman is up there. He's in 12th in the points. So I think the European team is far more set, at least 1 through 10, and feels more solid right now, it should be said, than the American team. What about Haotong Li? Very, very impressed with Haotong Li. I thought he was going to fade today. Played a really, really solid round, 2 under. He's in the final group with Scottie Scheffler tomorrow. It's probably not the guy that is most likely to make a charge tomorrow. I mean, you're looking at the guys who are in third. You got Fitz, just five back. 5 back feels like a lot. And then the group 6 back is Tyrrell, who someone in the chat is calling Wario, which I think is very funny. Harris English, Chris Gotterup, and Rory McIlroy. Feels like if a low one is going to come, it's probably going to be from one of them. Let's talk about some more stuff that we saw today. Wyndham Clark, the bad boy, the guy who is not welcome. I keep on getting more and more texts from people at Oakmont being like, this is a real thing, and like, they're not happy. That apology really did not go over well with them after he defaced that locker room. Wyndham Clark shot 5 under today. Yeah, first round he shot. Yeah, he was 5 over par through his first round and has battled his way back. He's 10 under over his last 2 rounds. So an impressive comeback from Wyndham Clark. It does feel like I don't know if I'm just maybe like projecting here or looking at it, but it felt like the fans weren't giving him necessarily the sort of the applause that maybe his play deserved. I don't know if maybe they were just holding it against him. What are your thoughts on Gotterup being in the discussion for a pick? Asked Tyler. I mean, we talked about that earlier in the show. I think he's absolutely in discussion. I think he's got a little bit of swagger. I think he plays a style that really would fit Bethpage Black, and I think him being from New Jersey, kind of you can play toward that hometown hometown angle. I think they would absolutely adopt him. Smash the like, chat. Dan's doing OT right now. LMAO. Who do you think is the biggest challenger to Scheffler? I got a sneaky feeling about Rory tomorrow. I really do. I think Rory, I don't think he's going to win. I think Scotty's going to play, shoot 2 under and win by a couple. But I can see Rory McIlroy finishing second tomorrow. This is finally the attitude that we wanted Rory to have after winning the Masters. You know what I mean? We all talked about, I remember you guys all said it, like, this is going to free up Rory, and everything is going to be gravy from now on, right? He's won the career Grand Slam. He's accomplished everything that he's ever wanted to accomplish. And I think also coming home this week, I think, there was a question in his press conference where one of the journalists was like, I was with you when you played the Dubai Desert Open when you were 16 years old, and we were the same age, and I was your walking scorer. And you told me that day that your goal in life was to win all 4 majors and to get to number 1 in the world, and you're back and you've accomplished it. And Rory was just like, geez. I think he's finally found a way to tap into that headspace that we all wanted to sort of shake him after Augusta and get him into. Like, dude, you've done it all. You've done it all. Go out there, have fun, dazzle the crowd, get that bounce back in your step, carry yourself with a smile. Like, this is all gravy. You're an all-time legend. These people love you. Celebrate with them. And it's amazing. There's no place like home. Home is where the heart is. And it does feel like something is sort of unlocked in Rory, where tomorrow he's playing with house money. And that's what we wanted him to feel like after he won the Masters. This is all house money. So go out there and play like it's house money. And he's finally doing that. So I can see a 6 under from Rory tomorrow. Absolutely. He knows how to go low at this golf course. I mean, he set the course record. It was a different golf course, but he set the course record 61 when he was 16. And then, that second round he played back in 2019 after shooting that disastrous 79, 65 at the time was the course record on the new Royal Portrush until Shane Lowry a day later shot 63. So and then Rory shot, what did he shoot today? 66. So he has plenty of history of going low at Royal Portrush. It is not an issue of oh, he can't seem to figure out the golf course. It's just that one round in 2019 that really kind of complicates his history at this golf course. So I think Rory's the biggest challenger to Scotty tomorrow, but I would just be very, very surprised. I'd be very surprised if Scotty doesn't win. I want to say it's 9 straight tournaments, I think, that he's had a 54-hole lead that he's converted, and he's got a 4-shot lead over Haotong Li. He's got a 4-shot. If I told you going into this week that Scottie Scheffler was going to have a 4-shot lead going into Sunday, and that he didn't make a bogey on Saturday, and that the guy who's 4 shots behind him and playing in the final group is Haotong Li, and that it's Matt Fitzpatrick 5 back, and then 6 back is Rory McIlroy. I mean, you would say, how many is he going to win by? And he won his first major by 3, his second by 4, and his third by 5. And I can absolutely see him winning his 4th major championship, being 3/4 of the way to the career Grand Slam. I could totally see it, and I could totally see him winning by 6 tomorrow. A nice showing from both Højgaards, which is very rare, right? I don't know if this is just because I'm more focused on the PGA Tour and I'm not watching the DP World Tour every year, but I feel like it's either one or the other. I feel like you got to attach all of your hopes and dreams to one Højgaard, and it's extremely rare that they both come to play. They are both inside the top 10. Nick, they're actually tied. So we got a nice battle for low Højgaard tomorrow. A couple other guys who are having nice tournaments. Ludvig Åberg, kind of a strange year. We've talked about that a lot on this show. I thought that he was going to be the biggest challenger to Scottie Scheffler this year after he won the Genesis, after just how good he was last year and sort of how linear his career was, but has had a really uneven year. Missed a couple cuts going into the Masters and found a way to get into contention in the Masters, then missed the cut in the PGA and the U.S. Open, which is very disappointing for a player of his caliber. Ludvig is in the tie for 14th. So is Justin Rose. And Justin Rose, I mean, we always talk about how one of the cool things about our sport is this link between the amateur game and the professional game, and how you can watch the best players in the world in the Open Championship or in a major championship, and they do a version of something that you saw in your weekend game. Well, Justin Rose contracted a little bit of a case of the shanks today. And this happened to me once when I was in Ireland. Sometimes, if your ball is in the heather and you're really trying to get down and you kind of lean into it a little bit and your lines get messed up and it can hit the hosel. And it's really jarring when that happens. And after he hit the second one, he just went, "Oh my God, I've shanked it again." And there was so much panic in his voice. And it was just one of those moments where it's like, pros, they're kind of just like us. They're kind of just like us. Like, it is a harrowing experience to hit a hosel rocket in any setting. To do it once in a major championship on the biggest stage has got to be horrifying. To do it twice, it sends shivers down your spine. So I don't know how Justin Rose shot 3 under today. I don't know how he's 5 under for the tournament. I feel like every time they've showed him, he's done something like completely ridiculous and strange and made a big number. So I'm very impressed that he's at 5 under par. Also at 5 under par is Lee Westwood, who shot 29 on the back 9 and lipped out on 18 for 28, which would have been the lowest 9-hole score in major championship history. So, Lee Westwood kind of faded into obscurity a little bit playing on Live Golf. He's up north of 50, and we kind of thought his days of being a mainstay on leaderboards was probably behind him, and it still is. But that's one of the cool things about the Open and about major championship golf is that for 1 week a year, and this is what Justin Rose was talking about. It's going to be difficult. This was him before the tournament. I asked him about the Novak Djokovic quotes because Novak was talking about playing Jannik Sinner, and Novak got beat pretty good by Jannik Sinner, and it looked like an older guy playing against a younger guy. And he said, over this last year and a half, this age thing has really started to catch up to me, and I feel like I'm playing. I feel like I'm playing without a full tank of gas, so to speak. And I asked Justin Rose, who's a tennis fan, he was at Wimbledon, about that, and he said, it's going to be really hard for me to revamp my game and find something new and week to week be a dominant force, more so than these young kids. But, I believe that when I'm playing my best and when I, for 1 week a year, or a couple weeks when the stars align, when the situation is correct, that I can still do this and that I can still compete at the highest level. So Justin Rose is at 5 under. So is Lee Westwood. Just a quick shout out to Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson on Friday, everyone was writing his obituary, and it's not, the standards have certainly dropped, but he made a couple of late birdies on Friday to make the cut, and then played a really nice round of 4 under 67. So he is in a tie for 22nd with Sung Jae Im. Mark Leishman is up there as well. He was complaining earlier this week about the pace of play and how on Live Golf they're used to playing so much quicker. Tommy Fleetwood is in a tie for 29th. So is Justin Thomas. Two guys who entered this week with kind of heightened microscope. I think Tommy, a lot of people were expecting something great. He's been so consistently good this year. Had that heartbreak at the Travelers, but hasn't been able to mount a charge. Same thing with Justin Thomas. He had the same exact results as Patrick Cantlay, I should say, coming into this week in the majors. A tie for 36 at the Masters, a miscut at the PGA, and a miscut at the U.S. Open. And he shot 1 over in the first round, and it was kind of, is it gonna be a totally lost year? He has bounced back a little bit. Shot 2 under today, so he's in a tie for 29th, but. And then there's Bryson in a tie for 34th. John Rahm is also in a tie for 34th with Sam Burns. Jordan Smith, who played with Rory, who had a very funny quote. He said that playing with Rory made him shit his pants. He said, I was shitting my pants because it was just that sort of heavy. Alex Bush has sent me a couple presser clips that we are going to react to in real time. So here is, we're downloading this one. Yep, there it is. We're going to watch Matt Fitzpatrick talk a little bit about his round and playing with Scotty. I don't know exactly what this clip is going to be, but let's watch it together.
I mean, his putting's night and day, obviously. Is from what you. His putting's night and day, obviously. Is from what you guys all talk about how bad it was at one point. I didn't play with him really in that period. He's just not missed a putt today. There isn't one putt that he's missed, and that's obviously the difference that's taken him to this unbeatable run, which is annoying for me that Phil Kenyon shared those secrets.
That's what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying, because Matt's worked with Phil forever. If I'm Matt Fitzpatrick, I'm going to Phil Kenyon on that putting green tomorrow, and I'm going, you created a fucking monster, Phil. Why would you do that? And he's American, Phil. We're the Brits, bro. What happened? You were helping me and you were helping Tommy, and then you started helping Keegan and Max Homa, and that was okay. That was fine. But once you started helping Scottie Scheffler, something changed. Something changed here. But yeah, I mean, it's very rare that we all sort of call for something or have this sort of collective hypothetical, and then it comes true. And when I say that, I mean before March of 2024, when Scotty left the planet, the narrative was if this guy could just putt. If he could just putt, because he was leading the tour in ball striking, basically every single week, and he was still finishing in the top 10, finishing basically last in putting. And we all said, if this guy could just putt, he's going to do something really special in the game. And he learned how to putt. He did exactly what we want. So if I'm Phil Kenyon, or if I'm Matt Fitzpatrick, if I'm one of these guys who works with Phil Kenyon, I'm just a little bit upset. I'm just a little bit upset, and it's actually kind of an interesting, little like side plot, or because it's a sort of a unique dynamic that these coaches. If you're a coach of a tennis player, you coach one tennis player, and if that tennis player is playing against someone else, you're rooting. Who you're rooting for is very clear. Your allegiance is very clear. It's with the player that you're working for. In golf, they work with all the top players, so I understand what Fitzy's saying, where he's like, it's crazy that it's Phil that's helping him. I mean, Phil was helping, I'm sure, the last two guys playing in the final group today, Scottie Scheffler and Matt Fitzpatrick. And it's just kind of an interesting, unique dynamic. Travis Bell says Fitz going to be a lock for the EU Ryder Cup team with how he's playing lately. I completely agree. I think Luke Donald will be very happy to see, because those last couple spots were sort of up for grabs, kind of waiting for someone to take a hold of it. British Open is over, says Greg Wilson. It's funny. They're talking about having an Open in Portmarnock, which is in Ireland, south of the border in the Republic of Ireland. I think that might officially be the death of the term British Open. If there's an Open Championship staged outside, this one's not in Britain. Britain, as I've learned, you go over to Ireland, you learn very quickly what the difference is between UK and Britain and what it all means. The UK is Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Great Britain is the island that is Scotland, England, and Wales. So this Open is being played outside of Britain, but it's still, the UK. So I guess calling it the British Open still makes sense. If they have an Open Championship at Portmarnock, I think we have to officially retire the phrase British Open, because it will be an Open Championship staged outside even of outside of Britain and outside of the United Kingdom. So yeah, another thing just before we sort of wrap up here, we'll see if Alex can deliver us another press conference in real time. But I just want to tell everyone, like, let's just savor tomorrow. Portrush has been incredible viewing. We talked about, I was clamoring about how Oakmont, I really wanted to see an overpar winning score, and I wanted to see carnage in 1 week a year, and I didn't want that this week. I didn't expect that this week. When I was walking the course early this week, I said there's a ton of birdies out here, and I remember that from when I played Portrush. When I played it a long time ago, it wasn't nearly as hard, I felt, as a Carnoustie or some of the other courses that we played over there. So, but what all this to say, not every week needs to be a United States Open to put on a really compelling show. And I think Portrush has been, you can hear it with the announcers that they're almost in awe of this place, the way it flows. I think as far as Open Championship venues that you want to play go, it's got to be Royal Portrush number one. Just how green it is, how lush it is, the elevation changes, how dramatic the dunes are. I understand that sort of the classic, Scottish links routing is out and back. This one is crisscrossing all over the place. So you've got guys with a bunch of different winds, and the wind shifts, and the hole plays 100 yards shorter. They showed Scotty hitting a wedge, and then it started raining, and someone else was hitting like a fairway wood, and the course has just played unbelievably well. And the shot values, all these guys are hitting it high, and they're hitting it low, and it just feels like there's birdies out there, but there's also disaster lurking everywhere, and we've got an amazing leaderboard. And yes, Scottie Scheffler might squeeze the life out of this tournament down the stretch tomorrow, as he does so often, but we've got one major championship Sunday left for the entire year. And let me tell you guys that the post-major season Monday scaries are going to hit like a ton of bricks on Monday. And yes, we still have Bethpage, and yes, we still have the FedEx Cup playoffs. It's not like the season just ends after this. And that's what Ron was talking about. He got a question, how hard is it, after the Open to know that you have to wait another 8 months or 9 months or whatever it is until the Masters? He said, well, thankfully, there's still other stuff to look forward to, namely the Ryder Cup. But as far as major championship golf, we got to savor tomorrow, guys. We're all golf sickos here. Smash a like on the video. If you're a golf sicko, smash a like for Scottie Scheffler. Make sure you're subscribed. We got one more major Sunday, and let's take some fulfillment from watching Scottie Scheffler march to glory tomorrow, because we know that Scotty himself might not enjoy it as much as. Oh, we got a clip. How good is Alex Bush, guys? How good is Alex Bush? We got a Scotty clip. We're going to bring this one in right away. Let's, I'm interested to see if they ask him about all the existential stuff, or see what this clip is about. So we get to react to this in real time with you guys. Scottie Scheffler talking to the media. And what'd you guys make of that, by the way? What'd you guys make of what he said? I don't think we've spoken. I mean, we did the show live, which I thought the live shows were great this week. The one we did on Monday, the one we did on Wednesday. And we talked about Scotty's questions on Wednesday, but I haven't been able to sort of ask you guys what your thoughts were, because I don't, when we're doing the live shows, when I'm not here at the doghouse, I'm not really looking at the comments as much as I am here. I'm very curious to hear what you guys thought of Scotty saying that, and if you guys resonated with it at all, because I know I resonated with it. Like, you expect, this next accomplishment is going to be the one that brings me joy. If I just get this many subscribers, if I just get this many followers on Instagram on the Dan on Golf account, then we're going to be flying, and then you get one sort of accomplishment, and then it's on to the next. So I really resonated with it, but I wanted to hear what you guys
have to say.
I like being out here competing.
I mean, this is why we work so hard, is to have opportunities like this, and I'm excited for the challenge of tomorrow. Win a major. Being out here competing, this is why we work so hard, is to have opportunities like this, and I'm excited for the challenge of tomorrow. Win a major championships is not an easy task, and I've put myself in a good position, and going into tomorrow, I'm going to step there on the first tee, and I'm going to be trying to get the ball in the fairway, and then when I get to the second shot, I'm going to be trying to get that ball in the green, and it's not really too much.
Alex said that was actually the best clip of the presser. So it seems that Scotty has sort of turned off the existential part of his brain. He wasn't going to be sentimental. He wasn't going to talk about what a win tomorrow would mean. He's just thinking about finding that first fairway. So, and Ben said this, and I thought this was a really interesting point early in the week. Ben felt like, why would Scottie Scheffler give this sort of 5-minute answer to a question that he could have easily sidestepped? Why go that far in depth? And Ben sort of hypothesized that, maybe it was sort of therapeutic for him. maybe it was cathartic for him, and maybe, you know, as he was talking, that's one of the reasons people go to therapy in the first place, is just to talk about it, because sometimes if it stays sort of bottled in your head, you know, it just becomes this boogeyman out there, and to finally say it and to get your feelings out there, you know, maybe it helps. So maybe that unlocks something with Scotty, because, you know, and I trust Alex Bush with my life. He said that was the best clip from the press conference at all. And it was just Scotty being like, you know, I'm really looking forward to competing tomorrow. I really love the challenge of trying to win a major championship, trying to win the third of 4. We're going to get Scotty's going to win the career Grand Slam. It feels like it could be next year at the US Open. Like we're watching greatness. We're watching absolute greatness. And I just keep going back to Billy Foster, because if you guys have spent any time around Billy Foster, the guy does not hand out compliments. And for him to say that this man is different class and different gravy, and to say that his distance control is the best he's ever seen. And Billy literally worked for Tiger Woods in 2004. Yes, it wasn't when his swing was the best. He was kind of in the middle of the Butch to Hank Haney transformation, but this guy worked for Tiger Woods. This guy worked for Lee Westwood. This guy caddied for Lee Westwood in the 2008 US Open when he left a putt short at Torrey Pines. Like, he's seen it all. And for him to say that this guy's distance control is the best he's ever seen, just wild. But again, it's a reminder that, you know, Golf is 72 holes, and even Scottie Scheffler, you know, he's playing links golf tomorrow. He could hit it in the gorse bush on 1, and we could have game on tomorrow. So, you know, we spent all this time showering all this love on Scottie Scheffler, and he deserves it. He deserves torrential downpour of praise, as someone in the chat said. Not just showered with praise, torrential downpour of praise. But anything can still happen. It feels very much so like Scotty's going to win, and it feels like he's going to win by 6, more so than him not winning. But anything can happen, and there's certainly enough birdies out there, and given the nature of this golf course, there's certainly enough disaster. Going to go through some of your comments here. Colton Summers, remove that safety net. How does Scotty behave? Feel about win and losing? I bring it up a lot, said Joseph Boza, and fans don't want to admit it. If he would be successful if Liv wasn't created. Liv has given him that safety net to be dominant. I'm not sure I agree with that. Chase S says, loving this major, bro. It's been fantastic viewing. Go work in something else then. If you're not passionate about driving the game, having kids role model you, all you care about is your direct family. For me, that's why people just don't get behind him. Do people not get behind him? I think he's good enough at golf that I think people just appreciate the greatness. And I appreciated him being honest. It was interesting for him to say, you know, I'm not here to inspire the next generation of kids because it's not a fulfilling life, almost like don't follow in my footsteps, which is just a very different outlook than someone like Rory McIlroy has. You know, you can tell that Rory thinks about his standing in the game, and Bryson talks about all he really wants to do is grow the game of golf. So yeah, it's, different strokes for different folks. It was a fascinating look into the brain of the world number 1. But, you know, I find that this performance coming after that press conference, he's a unique person in our sport. To feel that way about golf that he does, to have all these rocks in his life, which is how Justin Rose described it, his faith and his family, to have those two things away from golf, to feel like golf is only a part of his life and not the whole thing. But then when you zoom in on that part of his life, he's better at it than anyone's ever been since Tiger Woods. It's been amazing to watch. Chase S says, love the guy. I don't look at Scotty for philosophy. Yeah, it just kind of depends what you're looking to your athletes for, right? Do you want them to be these role models, or are you okay just watching them do what they do? He realizes there's more important things in life than winning, such as being a good father and a good family man. I would argue that you can do both. But yeah, we got one more major Sunday before a 8 or 9 month abyss. This has been so much fun geeking out with you guys. We might go live tomorrow after play. We're going to have the show on Monday, which should be a lot of fun. Again, we'll do one little look here at the leaderboard. We got Scottie Scheffler in the lead by 4 after a bogey-free 67, in total control of his game. And just really looking forward to watching it tomorrow. Really looking forward to watching it tomorrow. Oh, Alex told me that there's something that we got to bring in. So we're going to bring in something here because Alex told me that it's funny. And when Alex says that something is funny, we bring it in. We are going to do this, and then here we go. Let's see what it is. Hao Tong Lee. Okay. What have you done so well this week? Why are you playing so well? I don't know why, says the most handsome man in China. You do. Come on. I don't know why. Really? Nope. So yeah, maybe it's not that complicated. Let's all try to adopt Hao Tong Lee. If you're playing golf later today or tomorrow, play well, enjoy yourself. We love this game. We love this community. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to leave you. How am I sleeping? Are you jet lagged? I made it until 9 p.m. last night because I had to be in the vet ER with my dog because we thought that he ate a corn on the cob, but he didn't, and he's okay. So I'm feeling a lot better. Tiger would never say that, though. That is correct. But everyone's different. Everyone's different. Good stuff, guys. Fantastic. I'm going to leave it at that. You guys are terrific. We'll see you probably tomorrow. Haven't really decided yet, but we'll definitely see you on Monday. And yeah, We love you, Golf Sickos. Like and subscribe. Amazing stuff. Rory giving the crowd what they want. Scotty in full flight. Let's relish tomorrow. Good seeing you guys.